Greetings, Nick Bowcott with Sweetwater here, and today I have the honour and privilege of speaking to Mr. Zach Myers of Shinedown fame. He's also a guy who has one of the best-selling signature series guitars we have in our store and online. So without further ado, Zach, thanks for joining us.
Hey, good to see you, sir. It's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a while, you know. How have you dealt with the last year or so? Because you're a touring fiend as a rule.
I have dealt with the last year amazingly. We with Shinedown, we were only going to do like 25 to 30 shows anyway, so it was going to be a slow year. And then me and Brent were going to make the Smith and Myers record and tour that. But just getting to be home and like be dad for a second and husband has been the best. Like, it's a crappy, last year was a crappy year for a lot of reasons. For me, it was honestly one of the best years of my life to just like be home, be present, be dad, and kind of play that role, which is that's my number one job. So
Good for you, good for you. Well, you've certainly earned it, because I was looking at your touring schedule over the last decade has been, and plus decade plus has been ridiculous.
it's been ridiculous. I feel like for the last 23 years I've been on tour. Like, I got signed when I was 14, so I feel like I've been, a couple months off here, a couple months off there, with the exception of, I think, Shinedown, we took 2011. We didn't play any shows 2011. We didn't play any shows in 2014. And then, other than that, it was,
Nuts.
those are the only 2 years that we've taken off.
Gotcha. Cool. Now, one of the things that, your last PRS SE, affordable, cool looking, semi-hollow, Trampus green, and it's one of our best selling signatures of all time within the Sweetwater realm.
Makes me feel very nice.
Yeah, you should do. You should do. And so now Trampus green is replaced by Myers blue. And
Yes.
tell us a bit about the new guitar, which is about to hit at NAMM.
I will. This is it. This is one of them. This is a prototype.
Oh,
And what's
cool.
funny is this is the first one where every other signature that's come out, I always play the prototype live. This is the first one where I actually like the first one off the production line better. It's actually behind me. That's the one I'll play in a little bit, but it's been a lot of fun. The Myers blue thing was actually PRS's idea. As pretentious as it sounds, having my last name as a color. It was something that I was trying to figure out something to name it for my kids, but I have two boys, but mixing their names wasn't working. So it's like, I thought it'd be cool to have something that would link them to Forever PRS. You know what I mean? Like, have something that was in my kid's name. So Bev came up with Myers blue. I thought it was really cool. I realized that there's a reflection from the light here, but here it is. It's a beautiful guitar. We spent a lot of time on the color. Changed the pickups, obviously.
Yep.
One of my favorite parts is everybody knows I have a lot of private stock PRS guitars, but we did the headstock and the private stock.
Oh, yeah.
Headstock veneer.
Nice.
So it matches the flame on the body, and it matches the color on the body, which I thought was really cool. We're proud of it, man. It's been exciting because the ZM2 came out, the original one in Trampus Green came out in 2013, I believe.
Right.
And ever since then, I think 2 years in, maybe in 15, I was like, when can I make another guitar? When can I make another guitar? They're like, we can't. This one sells. It's selling too well, which is that's an uptown problem, to have.
Big time.
And then 2 years later, 17, when can I make another guitar? When can I make? They're like, it won't stop selling, which makes you feel good. I'm like, well, can we do more colors? They're like, well, we don't want to. And then so finally, at the end of 18, we started working on this. And,
Gotcha.
it's been amazing, and really, not too much has changed about it. Neck profile still the same, radius is still the same, scale still the same.
Still,
Changed the pickups.
yeah, S style. They're the S pickups now, the PRS S ones, which are the vintage vibe.
Yep, they have the vintage vibe, but we kind of updated them a little bit, so they're not the same as like if you got like the new PRS hollow bodies. They're a little bit different. Those are a little bit more kind of PAF feeling.
Gotcha.
These have a little bit more of that modern kind of brightness to them. The mid range is really good. It's kind of, as Paul calls it, musical mid range. You kind of hear that. It's not this wonky like sound that I really enjoy, but it's something that we've done. And the bridge is the same too, which is, that's my favorite bridge of all time.
Right.
The PRS adjustable bridge. Changed the tuners to black from the original kind of neon or vintage green.
Right.
Faded tuners, and everything else is kind of the same on it.
Yeah, so maple top, mahogany body, mahogany sides and back. what is it?
Yep, and we
Maple neck.
lightened the back a little bit. We went with like a lighter mahogany, which
Oh, that's
I
pretty.
really enjoy.
That's pretty.
Yeah, it is. It's a beautiful guitar, man. We're very excited about it, and I'm excited it's finally coming out, and people will stop asking me on the PRS forum on Facebook when it's coming out.
And obviously rosewood fingerboard as well, right?
Yep.
This is being launched officially when this video comes out, and then people can order them and get them from Sweetwater folks. And
they can. There's a lot. I actually talked to the fine folks at Sweetwater yesterday. They ordered a bunch of them to cover the hopefully mass hysteria this is going to cause. And they have enough to cover it, so I'm glad. And working with Sweetwater has always been really nice because I always get updates from people there that are being like, we only got 3 left, we only got 2 left, and then I'll order more, and they're like, we ordered more, and now they're all gone. Like it always makes me feel good. And that's
good.
Getting to go up there a couple of years ago was such a fun highlight for me. Like it's such a well-ran place and such a cool place to be. So, and you've been a lot of places too. So
yeah, no, this is a fun place to work.
That's what I'm saying. You always told me that you really enjoyed it, and I've seen you in several different offices in long time ago in the past. So
right.
If you like working there, I trust it.
Yeah, and it's changed since last time you were here. It's changed. It's got bigger and better. So as soon as this COVID stuff is over and done, you've got to come back, my friend. We'd love to have you.
I know. I don't know how that place can get any bigger, but yeah.
You'd be surprised.
All right, I'm excited.
Let me change that to another S word, shocked, probably, because it's...
Okay, cool.
I mean, if I wasn't here, I'd go, no, that's not true, but I see it every day.
I gotta come check it out. We talked yesterday about me coming up there, so
oh, nice.
We'll make it happen soon enough.
Now, even though you spent, 2020, which was a horrible year for a lot of folk, it was good for you because you got time to be dad and husband, which is great because you've earned that after all the touring you've done. You weren't exactly not busy musically. I mean, yourself and your cohort, Brent Smith, put Smith and Myers out, not just 1 volume, but 2, gosh darn it. 10 songs 10 songs on each. And the thing I love about it goes original cover, original cover, original cover. So 5 originals, 5 covers on volume 1, same on volume 2. But your cover choices is so eclectic, it's not even funny. I mean, you go from Billie Eilish to Billy Idol, from Post Malone to Neil Young, from Amy Winehouse to Oasis. It's great stuff. How did you pick those covers? Because they're really, like I said, eclectic. My favorite word of the day.
We wanted to, Smith and Myers, a backstory on Smith and Myers, it started as a radio contest where our label and a bunch of radio stations wanted Brent and I to do some covers, just as like a radio fans would call in a cover and we'd do it.
Right.
And we didn't want to do that as Smith and Myers or as Shinedown because we'll always be linked to one cover that we did 20 years ago, which is a huge part of our career, which is Simple Man. And so we didn't want to do any other covers. So let's just call it Smith and Myers. And we did it. We recorded that whole first Smith and Myers album in 2 days, 5 songs a day.
That was 2014. The 14 was the original one, right?
We recorded it in 13. It came out in 14. We brought in Kenny Wayne Shepherd, who actually lived down the street from the studio because the fans had picked all the songs.
Right.
So when we were doing Blue on Black, we were in Malibu, and I was like, I go, Kenny lives like 20 minutes from here. I've been to his house. So I called him. I'm like, hey, what are you doing? He's like, just got done having dinner. I'm like, come to the studio. And he literally was at the studio in half an hour. And so we did that, and then it just came out, and that was really it. We didn't even print physical copies of it. We just released it. We didn't even it wasn't like a big build-up. We didn't do press for it.
Right.
We just released it because it was supposed to be a radio thing. And then in like 15, I think we did the first tour. We put on 30 shows. Every show sold out in 2 hours. 17, same thing. And I was like, wow, this is a thing. Like, this is a viable thing. So Brent wanted to make a record. And then one night in New Jersey on stage, he, as Brent Smith does, kind of just spouted off at the mouth about, oh yeah, I know a lot of people have been asking us when we're going to make another record. We're going to go make a double record next year. And I was like, this is the first time hearing about this. There's 3,000 people in front of me. I'm just like, all right, I guess we're going to make a double album next year. So, and we did, and it happened. But the cover thing, to get back to your question, the cover thing was fans and us. They gave us ideas, and then, I came in knowing I wanted to do Valerie by anyone else, and I came in, I didn't really want to do the Oasis thing. It's something that I do live only when we're in England.
Right.
I never do it in the States. And it, obviously in Manchester, you play that song. It's the Manchester national anthem,
Of course.
so the crowd sings it louder than you do. And we were in the studio and we needed another song. And Brent was like, you got to do this because you sing it so well. And I was like, oh, that's a later discussion and how well I sing it. But I was like, so we ended up doing it and it ended up going great. But the Billie Eilish thing was Brent. Rebel Yell was kind of both of us. Brent really wanted to do Rockin' in the Free World. Brent wanted to do Post Malone. The ones that I kind of brought were Valerie, Losing My Religion, and a couple of the other ones that I was really into doing. But Brent had the idea to do the Billie Eilish thing, which I kind of thought was a little off the wall. But
it's cool though.
It is cool. My favorite one, I think, of the covers is probably either Unchained Melody or Rebel Yell, just because we flipped Rebel Yell.
No, I was going to say my personal favorite. Like I enjoy all the covers, but Rebel Yell is your treatment is so unique with the piano and the because it's unplugged. You guys unplugged, and you throw in your the piano, like the way you use the piano, the acoustic guitar, and then there's that the X factor, Brent's voice.
I mean, the thing that I think sells this project is always been. There's something about, and we found out on Simple Man, there's something about Brent's voice and one instrument.
Yeah. Oh, there is.
That it works as I don't know, his voice works as like a stringed instrument, like a violin or a cello. Like it truly just becomes its own thing. And so we knew it was going to work with that. So it's like, we added more stuff to this record. The first record is all recorded live. Like everything's live in the room. I think one song is 3 takes and every other song is 2 or 1 take. And what you hear on the record is that was us playing it for the first time. We didn't even rehearse them on the first record.
Right.
This one we spent a little bit more time, but we knew that we wanted to use his voice as an instrument. And I think that kind of comes across, especially on something like Rebel Yell and Unchained Melody.
Right.
I love also that you said clever way I play piano, which means I don't play piano well at all. It's just how my wife is like a classically trained piano player.
I didn't mean it that way, but yeah, that's funny.
No. I mean it that way because I play piano different than most people I know because I don't use my thumb.
No, that's what I noticed.
On my right hand. Yeah. I stretch my fingers unless I'm playing a D major, E major, or A major. And so my wife yells at me constant.
Of course, yeah, you're breaking the rules. Well, to me, you're playing piano like a guitar player would, no thumbs.
100%. Well, I taught myself how to do it. So, my ex-girlfriend, 15 years ago, bought me a keyboard, and I was still living in an apartment. So as much as I knew about guitar, getting signed at 14 and being this blues kid, I never knew anything about piano. I didn't know where a C note was.
Right.
So it wasn't ever in my spectrum. So I bought this keyboard and I know what guitar chords are made of. So this is what I did. And I don't know if I've ever told anybody this, but I took a keyboard and hooked it up to a Boss TU2 tuner and I hit a note and it would tell me what the note was. So I took pink gaff tape and I wrote it all over the keyboard.
Oh, that's
what
funny.
Notes were what. And then I learned how to play chords. But I did it my own way. So I never learned how to play the proper way with my thumb. And it drives my wife crazy.
So you say so there's just a couple of chords like E major and D major, I think you said, where you do use your
E
thumb?
major, D major, and A major.
So those are your Hendrix chords on
those
piano,
are my Hendrix
effectively,
chords.
yeah, because you're doing the thumb.
Because I'm doing it backwards, yeah. So it's for me, I will say this though, it kind of adds an interesting element because I play chords differently. So when I play those chords if I was playing traditionally like on Rebel Yell, it wouldn't have sounded the same.
That's what got me. It's like you have a unique, pun intended, your playing approach, but gives you a unique sound.
Doing it wrong gives it a unique sound.
Well, what do they say? There are no rules. If there are ones,
there are no
them.
rules, I guess. Yep.
And how was the recording done? Did you do it remotely, or does Brent live quite close to you?
Brent lives nowhere.
He's still nomadic. He's still just doing the Brent thing.
He's still a gypsy. He's homeless. But we did it in Malibu. So this was pre-pandemic when we started.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So we went to Malibu on February 10th or 20th, I believe, and we started. And then I got out of LA day before lockdown.
Oh wow.
So it was kind of nice, But we had started writing February 20th, and we basically wrote a song a day. We did all the covers first, and then once we got the covers out of the way, we were averaging about 2 covers a day.
That's not bad. That's not bad at all.
Yeah, and then that's with all the production and everything. We'd get there about 11 a.m. with Dave Bassett, who is kind of the fifth member of
Right.
Shinedown, and it was just me, him, and Dave, and we had Sanjay, our video guy there, and he kind of filmed the whole process. And the three of us wrote songs, and it was amazing, and we had a lot of fun doing it. And Dave's really easy to work with, and he sometimes going in a room with somebody like that and trying to be vulnerable is weird, with another writer. Normally we write kind of everything in house, but it's
Right.
like Dave's been writing with us since Sound of Madness. So it feels so natural to kind of be with Dave.
Yeah, and congratulations! Like not mad enough. I noticed there's over 100, over 1 million streams on Spotify and well over 1 million views on YouTube as well. So you have,
Yeah. And it's breaking the top 10 on the rock chart, which is
oh, congrats!
insane.
That's great.
Yeah.
Good for you, man.
Yeah. It was actually in the pre-voting for the Grammy too. And I was like, dude, if we, and we've never been nominated for a Grammy in Shinedown. Like if we get nominated for a Grammy for Smith and Myers, it's going to be highly ironic and hilarious.
Yeah, that is. That's what. And another thing you've done very recently actually is you've just released a solo album you recorded some 15 years ago. Was it Schizophrenic Love Songs Part One?
Yeah.
Did you just find that in a
was,
closet somewhere, or you just always had it
no,
lurking?
I've had it. I would listen to it twice a year, and just like, oh yeah, this record still sounds good, and honestly, it was something I'd written these songs between when I was in a band called the Zach Myers Band from 14 to 19 or 20. And then when that ended, but a little before that ended, I started writing rock songs, and we were on a major label, which I won't say the name of. But I started giving them the rock songs and going, hey, I would like our next record to lead like this. And they were kind of like, hey, we like these songs. Would you like us to kind of shop them to other artists on the label? And I'm like, no, I would want them for our record. And they were like, well, that's, I kind of came up with this in this kind of Johnny Lang, Kenny Wayne Shepherd blues world. I
Right.
was part of that thing. And they didn't want me to write rock songs. They wanted me to be the cute, blues kid with the long blonde hair. And truly, when I toured with BB King, the first thing he told me, which looking back on it, somebody could easily take as being rude, but he was like, and I think he told Kenny the same thing, but he was like, this is cute. He's like, till your 18th birthday. And I took that seriously,
No, I hear
because
you.
after your 18th birthday, you're a man now who plays guitar. And guess what? There's a lot of those, and they're all better than you.
Holy
So
moly.
it's like,
Yes.
he didn't say that. He didn't
Right.
say that, but I took it as that. And I thought that was the most constructive criticism I'd ever gotten. And I was like, he's right. This is a novelty until I turn 18. There's this cute kid. He plays guitar. Look at him. He's a blues guy. He's very, I was very much Stevie Ray Vaughan influenced. So when I got older, I started writing rock songs, and I wanted to be a songwriter, and the label was just like not having it.
Right.
So ended up, breaking up the band so we could get out of the deal. And then I started the Farewell, and then we made this record in 2006 with Skid Mills. And I joined Shinedown in 2004, and then it just never, I had left the band in 2006 for like 3 months. I was not in Shinedown. That was it, like August through November, I think. And then I came back, and then I never got around to putting it out.
Right. Gotcha.
And it just sat there, and it came out, and it was like the #2 rock album on iTunes overnight. And I was like, this is so, I truly, I'm not trying to be aw shucks. Oh, they really like me. Like, I thought 25, 30 people would want to hear this record who remembered it, from back in the day.
Right.
And it did so well, and I can't believe it. And the band has been super supportive. We had a band call yesterday for like 2 hours, and everyone in the band was congratulating me, and it felt really good that this thing that I released. I sound nothing like that singing now, so
Right.
I can't even sing those songs anymore. Like, they're so high
Gotcha.
for me to sing. But yeah, it was a fluke thing, but it's cool that it came out.
Now, the fact it's called, I was going to ask you, the fact it's called Part One, does that imply there's a Part Two lurking somewhere in the background?
Man, I wrote something the other night, and I was like, this may be the first farewell song I've written in 16 years. Like, it felt like a farewell type thing. So who knows? Maybe another 15 years.
Gotcha.
You'll see
There
another.
could be
You'll see another
collection.
record.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't know. It was very strange. It was just, the whole thing was weird, and there wasn't 2 months that went by that someone asked me, when's that record coming out? And finally, I surprise released it. I didn't even tell the band.
You just went, boom, here it is.
I literally put it out. Yeah.
Now, looking behind you, actually, so you've got your amp collection, you've got your guitar collection, of course, you've got your mask collection.
Yeah,
Well,
you
there's
got all
masks all over the darn place.
yeah.
The famous Myers mask. But the one thing I don't see, and thankfully we're not face to face, so you can't slap me. Your infamous shoe collection that even has its own Instagram following. Where is that?
I'll take you. We'll go.
Oh, I've got to see this.
There you go. It's right behind me. It's actually attached to the guitar riffs. All my stuff in the house is all right in one area. So
Gee, wow, now that's a shoe collection.
yeah, there's about it's getting close to about 1,000 pair.
Now, have you worn them all, or you just have them?
Not yet. I mean, I will. There's
Right.
there's nothing that I won't wear. They're I get the hype behind some of them, but they're shoes to me. It's nothing. So this is the coolest one right here. This is the Shinedown. So I got to work with Jordan and make my own shoe.
Oh, that's too cool.
So this is the Shinedown Air Jordan 1.
The attention.
The attention one. It sells for a ridiculous, like, the market of shoes makes itself. So
Right.
like I've seen one of those sell for $31,000.
Wow.
There's only 23 pairs. So
Gotcha.
it's weird. It's like the guitar market, right? It's like, I was talking to somebody the other night about Dumbles, and it's like that market. It's like, how, oh, sorry, you lost me. I'm
No,
sure.
that's
Hold
good.
on.
That's all good.
Alexander didn't make the price for Dumbles.
No, someone else did.
Robin Ford paid $1,800 for his amp. So did Jackson Brown. So did David Lindley. So it's like the market dictates what it is. So it's like the same thing with guitars. Shoes are, I've got a pair of shoes in there that would sell for 40 grand. Like it doesn't make any sense to me because it's just a shoe to me.
And that pair is what, by the way? Is that a very limited edition Michael Jordan
Yeah,
or something?
there's a couple. I have an Eminem 4. I have a Macklemore 6. I've got a finals worn Kobe Bryant that he autographed.
Oh, wow.
That'll stay. I mean, all of them will stay forever. The 1,000. There's probably 500 to 600 pair in that room, and then the other 400 something pair are. I usually when I had to buy shoes back in the day before I signed on with Jordan, I would buy doubles of everything. So one day when I did have kids, they could they would have the same shoes as me, and we could twin up and.
Oh, cool.
And do that whole thing.
So
yeah.
So you enjoy the dad role in your life is a big deal.
The dad role is the dad. It's dad, everything else.
Good for you, man. Good for you.
Yeah.
Now, going back to guitars for a second. Thanks for the sneak preview on the shoes. I was just expecting some abuse, not at all. So that's great.
No.
So you and guitars, and what songs or riffs initially inspired you and have continued to sort of be in your DNA, if that's not too silly a question?
The first riff that made me want to play guitar was Whole Lotta Love. Like that was the first thing for me that, I was into music already,
Right.
And I enjoyed music, but there was still to this day too, if I hear on the radio, it's got to be on the radio though. Like I can't play it on if I'm in a car and I hear that song through FM waves, I get the same feeling as the first time I ever heard that song. And same thing with Jailbreak by Thin Lizzy, which is, my second favorite band of all time is Thin Lizzy. So,
that's why we get on. That's why we get on.
Yeah.
So well.
I don't know if you'll agree with my first band, but both of my favorite rock bands, my first two favorite bands of all time are both Irish rock bands.
So now you've set it up. So I've got to ask you. So the first band is
an Irish rock band that isn't Thin Lizzy.
U2. No,
it's my favorite band of all time.
Like The Edge. The first time this is weird. Can you remember Kerrang magazine?
Yeah.
The first time I ever saw a picture of The Edge was in Kerrang, and he was playing an Explorer, and I'm like, this guy's got short hair, but that's a metal look, because he had the Explorer, and you can't argue with people can say what they want, sales
You know,
speak volumes.
people get mad that they put that album on their iPhone. I think, but listen, they're the biggest band in the world, truly, and have been for 30 years.
Yeah.
Like truly, like there's no, this isn't, oh, this is my opinion. They're the biggest band in the world, whether you like it or not. And honestly, Metallica is probably the second biggest band in the world. You
Or
know,
AC/DC, or
I,
yeah.
AC/DC as well, Kiss, you know, and Maiden, you know, like those are bands that can go, when I say biggest band in the world, can go anywhere on the planet Earth and
And,
play a stadium
and sell it out.
and sell it out.
Yeah.
And like anywhere, places you've never even heard of.
Yeah, anywhere with
They can go
electricity,
there.
I used to say about Maiden, if they turned up and there was electricity, they'd sell it out. Yeah, you're
That's
right.
the best. That's the best fans in the world. You know, we toured with them in 2017, and we did 2 weeks with Metallica, like on just, you know, not at their headlining shows, but we were on the same stage as them at festivals for 2 weeks in Europe in 2013. We toured with Kiss. Maiden fans are the best fans, period. There's no more diehard fan. I don't care what anyone says, period. They take over a town when they come in, and it's like a religion, and it's awesome. Like truly, and the nicest people you'll ever meet. Not necessarily to you while you're playing, but if you meet them after the show or before the show, like, you know, they'll come up to you, you know, in this, you know, wherever you are in Europe. We toured Europe and the UK with them, which is, I believe, is the toughest market to tour with them because that's their home.
Big time, yeah.
And so I would be, you know, walking around the city at like a Christmas market or wherever, you know, actually it was the spring. So I'd just be walking around, but, you know, they would come up to me and go, enjoy watching you every night. And I'm like, I know the person. I'm like, I see you in the front row every night. You do not enjoy watching me every night. And he's like, no, I do. I'm like, but like during the show, you know, they're just,
yeah, come on, I want Maiden.
Like all you are just something between them and Maiden.
Right.
If you weren't there, Maiden would go on earlier.
Yeah.
That's what they think.
Yeah.
And then I tell you what, man, by the end of the show, we had really won like 85% of them over, to the point where Bruce and Steve came up to us one night and were like, you guys are not a metal band at all. And we're like, yeah, we know. And they were like, you guys, we don't know if we've had a band that was recepted well. And I think I'll tell you, I think why. We didn't change who we were. We didn't go out and play a heavy set.
Right.
We still played Shinedown stuff. We respected that crowd. And we went out there knowing you got to win these people over or you will get a cup of piss thrown at your face. You know, and truthfully, we respected him. And Brent did his Brent thing. And by the end of the night, man, all of them had their fists in the air. And there was one moment, I don't want to harp on this, but there was one moment where this kid, and his name's slipping my mind right now, but he just wrote me a message on Facebook the other day. I think his name's Torin, Toren. The whole tour. I mean, you know, you know Maiden very well.
Yeah.
These people take a month off of work and follow this band.
No, they do. That's why if someone's watching this going, what do you mean you see the same guy every day? They buy tickets for the tour. They buy tickets for
35 shows.
Yeah.
I can imagine a ticket to a show's 80 pounds.
Yep.
Whatever. Like they do that 35 times.
Yeah. No, it's insane.
And then have to travel and get there. And there was this kid named Torin. He was in front of me. I'm getting chills talking about it. He was in front of me the whole time. And the whole tour gave me nothing. Nothing. I mean, just, and I'm like in his face. Like,
he's like, get on with it. Yeah.
And then, dude, by the end of the tour, it was like this. Think of like end of Arnold Schwarzenegger movie music playing in my head. When Brent asked everybody to put their fists in the air, like slow motion, this dude put his fist in the air. I started crying.
It was like your Rocky moment. Yeah.
Dude, it was so Rocky. It was like 300 or something. I was just like, it was like you got this person's respect. And that's all that mattered. It was like, so I think that we got that reaction because we respected their fans. And truly to this day, and I'm sorry I went on a Maiden tangent, but I know you can do that with me all day long because you love Maiden. So, but no, the best fans in the world.
Yeah, well, that's like to a lot of people, that's intimidating to open for a band that's like opening for Slayer.
I was not looking forward to it. And I remember the original, we have the same booking agent. And I remember telling John Jackson, I don't want to do this. And I was being serious.
No,
Like,
I know.
I was
Yeah.
like, I want to do it because I would love to go over there and play in these huge arenas and stadiums with this band. I was like, I don't want to. I was like, I don't. We've made it. We're too successful. Like in America, we do arenas on our own. Like, I don't want to feel like this is my first tour ever, and I'm trying to win people over. I go, I'm up for the challenge. I go, but I just, you know, we have ballads too. You know what I mean? We're not just a straight ahead rock and roll band. You know, we got. And then he was like, man, it'll be fine. And then we played Download, and Steve Harris watched our whole set. And we got off stage, and he's like, I really want you guys to come out with us. And I was like, all right, well, we'll do it. And but it was still, man, it was nerve wracking, man.
I bet.
It's like, you know, we opened for Slayer too in Sweden.
Ooh.
Not where you want to open for
No.
a metal band in the home of metal. You know, so it was
That must have been
it
interesting.
went really well.
Yeah.
Dude, I still have the day sheet. I saved the day sheet because it's I forgot the first band, Hailstorm, Shinedown, Slayer, Queen. That's the best day sheet I've ever had.
That's, yeah. Wow. Queen and Slayer on the same, you know, that's Europe for you though.
That's what I love about it, man. You can have the biggest hip hop artist in the world, and then Metallica goes on.
Yeah, the Eminem and Metallica on the same
it,
stage,
yeah.
not separate
so
nights,
much.
the same stage on the same
No,
night.
same stage, same night.
Yeah, good stuff. So that was a great tangent. So Whole Lot of Love. What was it? So you said it had to be FM in the car. What is it about that riff? Because it's like 3 or 4. It's a minimalistic riff, but it's just. I know what you're saying. I'd just like to hear it from your. Why does it grab you so hard to this day?
I think that was the first time I listened to rock and roll my whole life. I think that was the first time I heard rock and roll.
Ah.
You know what I mean? Like I had listened to rock and roll. That was the first time I heard it. You ever seen White Man Can't Jump? Where it's like, you can listen to Jimmy, but you can't hear Jimmy. Like that's what it was. It was like I had listened to rock and roll my whole life. When I heard that riff come on, I was hearing rock and roll, and I was like, you know, it's the Holy Spirit feeling, you know. And I remember where I was. My mom had a Mazda Z, and I remember being in the car, and I remember hearing that song, and I was like, all right, I don't know what this is, but I need to discover more of it.
No, that's great. And talking of relatively simplistic, I mean, Jailbreak's 3 chords.
Yeah.
What, the same thing?
Same thing. And I think it's just that and then the riff comes in.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like
that EG thing that they do, the E-7 effectively. Yeah, it's just
Dude,
dank.
It's truly, you know, when you hear that, to me, it was the same thing. It was like, oh, this is rock and roll. And then from then on, you know, I was 13 when I heard Thin Lizzy the first time. Like, so imagine being a 13-year-old kid in Tennessee who's into Thin Lizzy, and I'm the only kid into Thin Lizzy. Like, no one else has even heard of Thin Lizzy.
No.
You know, maybe if you say the boys are back in town, maybe, but it still hadn't even reached in the early 90s, hadn't reached the pinnacle of like, it wasn't really in movies yet, or like,
Right.
You know what I mean? So like, I was a weird kid to be 13 and being like, have you heard Johnny the Fox? You know what I mean?
It's a
like,
great album, yeah.
My favorite Thin Lizzy album, actually. It has Borderline on it, which is my favorite Thin Lizzy song. So yeah, it was that, and then my favorite moment in live album. I'm weird. I actually enjoy live albums more than I enjoy normal albums for most bands.
I do too, actually, to be honest with you.
My favorite live moment in any live album of all time is Cowboy Song Into the Boys Are Back in Town from Live and Dangerous.
Yeah.
Like, I've heard it 150 times. If I'm in the car and I'm listening to that record, I get chills. I got them right now. Every time that song comes on and that transition,
yeah,
like, Cowboy's life is a life for me. I was like, that is like the coolest transition of all time. So like for me, like Thin Lizzy's always been at the top for me.
Okay, I've got a deal to make you then. Next Dime Bash, it's like Doug Pinnock sings Phil Lynott and like gives me goosebumps.
Of course, why wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Of course he does.
So the last Dime Bash we did Jailbreak, of course.
Yeah.
And you have to. And we also did Cowboy Song. So we've next time you can make it, we
I'm
will
in.
do, and we will
I'm
do that
in.
exact.
But we got to
medley
do
and that
cowboy
track.
song. We got to do cowboy song into Boys Are Back in
No,
Town.
we have to because we've done Boys Are Back in Town as well. So we've got the nucleus is there. So that's my buy-in. That's me buying you into.
What's
Nick
your favorite
Steinbach.
Thin Lizzy song?
That's a hard one.
You can give me two. I know that's hard.
I really like Johnny.
Yeah. Okay.
That's got one of those riffs. But my all-time favorite, and I'm not just saying this because you said it, the one that sold me was a good friend of mine's brother. A friend of mine at school's older brother was like the local guitar hero. His band, first time I went to see them, they played Jailbreak, and I've played it ever since. I love that song.
I think borderline for me, and then a sleeper, but don't say a word, is like one of my. I love that song.
And there's also, I mean, Still in Love with You's classic. But Grim Reaper used to cover that, believe it or not.
Oh wow!
Yeah, the singer prior to Steve sounded like Phil Lynott, so we record Thin Reaper or Grim Lizzy a lot of the time because we do like 5
awesome.
covers. The other one that Old Flame is another one.
Yeah, great song.
But yeah, we could talk for hours, but we digress. So why don't we finish? So I'm going to ask you 2 things. Could you give advice for any aspiring musician, regardless of age, and on sort of following their dreams?
Yeah, I mean, if you're learning to do what we do, and listen, you run circles around me as a guitar player, but we didn't have these advances in technology. You and I didn't have the internet when we were learning to play guitar.
No. So,
use those things. Use them to your advantage. Use YouTube. Use, all these, Ultimate Guitar has a great platform. Like there's so many. Dude, I went to Ultimate Guitar to learn my own songs one time that I wrote and recorded. When we were going back and playing old songs, I would like go to YouTube and I'd watch some 14-year-old kid play my song, but that's how I did it. But that, and then you don't need a media company anymore. You're your own media company. You have this thing of social media, and whether albeit using hashtags or whatever you do, you have the whole world on this thing that I'm talking to you on right now.
Right.
So there's advantages and disadvantages, right? Are they just handing out record deals like they used to? Absolutely not. Do you have to have some sort of niche to get a record deal? Yeah, but truthfully now, do you need one? No, you don't need one. And I think that being open-minded in this industry is the best thing that I've ever done. Learning the business side.
Right.
Know your business, know your money, and learn how to work it. Learn how to talk to these people and learn the ins and outs. It's a different business than when I started, streaming wasn't around when Shinedown came out, and now it is, and it's a big part of what it is. But learn to change with the times, be open-minded, learn the business, and learn to market yourself. You're your best tool to getting yourself out there. When we started, there was no Instagram, there was no Twitter, there was barely internet.
Right.
So.
That's wonderful advice, because you've gone past the playing into the nuts and bolts of it. You have to understand the industry, and
because once you get done playing and you get thrown into this, you know how it is. You gotta learn those things. You can get taken advantage of in this business very easily, and our band's been very lucky in that sense. So,
right. And to close, I'm going to ask you to pick up that beautiful Myers Blue guitar behind you, and maybe play maybe play Whole Lot of Love and of course Jailbreak.
I will. This is the production one. So I actually like this one a little better.
What do you like about it better, by the way? Is it just a tone thing?
The tone to me it feels a little different, but that's probably in my head.
Right.
If I'm being honest. The flame is a little looser on it.
Yep.
I like that. It's a little bit more faded, which is kind of what we wanted. So you can kind of see the natural wood coming out a little bit. I don't know. It just feels a little better. And I enjoy it. And I will now play it and play it mediocrely as I play everything. I always tell people I didn't get a signature guitar being a guitar player. I got a signature guitar for being a songwriter in a band.
for me, if there was a third one, is another Irish thing, which is. That was like the first time I'd heard like a dotted eighth delay. So
Yeah,
it was like, what is that? How is he making that guitar sound like that? And then that for me, like those were the three riffs to me that were like, other than Stevie Ray stuff, like those are the three riffs that made me want to play guitar.
That's killer. Well, thank you so much. So I'm going to say, hopefully next time I see you, we'll be face to face and we won't have to wear masks. And
yes,
want to see you back doing what you do best with that Brent Smith and his voice, man.
absolutely. I'll tell him you said hello as well.
Please do. And thanks so much for taking the time, and congratulations. I'm speaking prematurely, but I know I'm not. I know you've got another huge selling guitar on your hands, so congratulations.
Oh, thank you. I hope so. We'll see.
Take care, brother. Thank you.
Thanks, brother. Good to see you, man.
Likewise.